So I watched Star Trek, The Enemy Within. The Enemy Within? Oh no, was there a traitor aboard the Enterprise? No, not quite. Here we have the famous episode in which Kirk is split into two versions of himself, and one's gentle and compassionate, and the other one is aggressive and acts on feeling and whatnot. And it's an interesting display of human personality and character traits that in order for Kirk to be an effective captain, he needed his dark side, because the hard decisions come up, and even though he's the nicer version of him, is a bit indecisive because, this could go wrong and this could hurt this guy, and I don't know what to do. Whereas the more aggressive one is like, you got to weigh the odds and stuff, and this is the hard choice, and you got to make it. And that's what he needed. Separate, of course, they were extreme versions of the other, and but of course brought back together, everything works out. But it was an interesting interplay here, and it shows the development of the series, the relationship between the three main characters of Kirk, Spock, and McCoy. And here you even see Spock and McCoy arguing about what Kirk should do when he's really indecisive. And it's tough. But anyway, basically what happens is the transporter had some kind of malfunction in it, and it causes Kirk to split into two versions of himself. Later on, they realized that a crewman who got injured on this survey team they had on this planet below beamed up to go get treated, and he was covered in some dust from the rocks there, and there was some sort of, the dust was somewhat irradiated, and it affected the mechanism of the transporter, and this is what begins the problem. So Kirk follows up after this guy, and that's when he gets split into two. Later on, an alien dog gets split into two as well, and then one dog is nice and sweet, and the other one is just wild and barking and snapping and all this stuff. And then there's the aggressive Kirk shows up, and so what does he want to do? Well, he goes and gets some brandy from Bones, and then Bones, he's really rough with Bones about it, so Bones reports him to Spock, and but Spock goes to the gentle captain. He's like, what? That didn't happen. I guess McCoy's playing a joke on you. And then the most egregious scene is, of course, the bad Kirk goes to Yeoman Rand's cabin and attempts to rape her. And probably would have if he hadn't been interrupted by the same crewman who had injured his hand on the planet below and inadvertently caused all of this. And so Kirk beats the crap out of him and rapes him. No. He doesn't. So there is this whole thing where, and then Rand is accusing Kirk, and then she's like, but I didn't want to get you in trouble, and all this type of stuff. And it kind of plays on this stuff that we talk about even to this day, sexual harassment and whatnot. And that Yeoman Rand is kind of nervous about even talking about it, and then doesn't really want to cause trouble for Kirk because she likes him, but she's at the same time horrified about what he did and doesn't quite know what to make of it, and confused and everything. And all that's on display there. And it's the odd, what an embarrassing thing when you realize that it's Kirk's like, I didn't do it. And then he's like, well, technically I did. It was my other half. And then he emerges like, so yeah, somewhere in me is this desire to just possess you and take you. It's just, so how do you go forward? And so Yeoman Rand transfers off the Enterprise. Let's say that, yeah. Good Lord. But of course, Star Trek being a creature of its time, Spock makes light of the situation at the end. Oh boy, I bet they wish they could reshoot that now. But anyway, that was the big extreme scene of what Kirk would do in his full-on aggressive and dark side. And later on, even looks like he's about to kill the other Kirk, and just because Spock stops him before he does. So So yeah, pretty aggressive guy. And then eventually they figure out, well, we have to merge the Kirks back through the transporter and fix this. And they attempt it on the dogs, but the dog dies. And then Spock says, well, it died because it's a dumb animal. It doesn't understand what's happening, and the shock killed it. McCoy says, we don't really know that. And then Kirk has to decide, well, we got to try it anyway. And so he does it. Bad Kirk doesn't want to do it. He's scared, much like the animals. He's reacting on instinct and emotion and fear and stuff, and doesn't reason things out. Whereas gentle Kirk can still somewhat think reasonably, if having difficulty making decision. But ultimately, he wins out, and the two Kirks are reunited, and it feels so good. Meanwhile, they had the whole problem of the crew. The survey team was trapped on the planet below because they couldn't use the transporter because they didn't know they would all be split into two. So Sulu's down there with them, and they're slowly freezing to death because as night falls on that planet, the temperatures drop dramatically, and they're almost about to die. And then until Kirk, they do the experiment that reunites him with himself, and then they're rescued. So a fascinating play on the nature of the human mind right there within it. And so this is one of the top ones for Star Trek, in which they explore the concepts of what they do there, and that's part of the ideas and aspects of science fiction, where you have futuristic inventions and whatnot that can display things like this in a means that's really not possible now. But here, you can explore the ideas of personality and who you are, and what your aggressions are, and what your reason do. When a reason can maintain control over just raw emotion, so on and so forth. And it's all well played out and displayed here for Star Trek, and that's part of Star Trek's gift to society and culture. That's what made it great. So this was a good one. Some of the technical things that were some mistakes here. Right off the bat, when you first see Kirk, he doesn't have his badge on his shirt. It's just something, I guess someone just forgot. I don't know. And then suddenly it's back on. There's also where Spock and Kirk are looking for Bad Kirk in the engine room where he's hiding, and there's scenes where Bad Kirk has a phaser. One time it's the pistol, and the other time it's that the handheld when it looks like like an electric razor, that version of the phaser, and so that's just another a technical goof that happened. And so things like that happen. What are you going to do? But anyway, this was one of the greats of the original Star Trek, and its concept and how it displayed the theories about that. So there was a good one. So do watch it if you can, if you haven't already, or rewatch it and bathe in the greatness that was Star Trek. I miss Star Trek, don't you? Wouldn't it be nice if there was news? Oh boy, no. Well, there's the Orville. Of course, you got to get Hulu now. Yeah. Oh well, what are you gonna do? And the Picard trailer looks good, but oh man, check out the Midnight's Edge video on what. Once again, they're just ripping off Brian Fuller. Apparently, jeez, what the hell? And I suspect that the jumping off point will be Fuller's idea that they just basically steal, and then it'll go downhill after that. So, boy, and hopefully I'm completely wrong on that. But I think all the excitement about 7 of 9 and Data being there is just some glorified cameos in the first episode, and the rest is just Picard sitting around while some new cast talk about being woke, and that's about it. So hopefully I'm completely wrong on that, but based on what I've seen so far from this group of making Star Trek, not optimistic. The showrunner is supposed to be Michael Chabon, so maybe that's a +2, but but anyway, original Star Trek is still available, and The Enemy Within is a classic. Thank you for watching and listening. Say, why not like and subscribe, and check out that link description below. You know why? Because it'll take you to my mini stores. That's why. Yes, those stores have plenty of goodies for you. Yes, that's right. You.